Now, I wasn't going to record a first impressions video about the G2 because I think a lot of people do first impression videos almost to drag out the review and just get some extra views. I mean, that's fair enough. You know, maybe if YouTube's your full-time living and every view counts, then fair enough. But to me, I would usually wait until I've used something long enough to form a proper opinion. Unless, of course, it's something like a racing cockpit, in which case you can sort of sum up and test it out very quickly, throughout the process of recording the video and actually using it for a little bit. Things like this, however, because there's a lot of things you can tweak and a lot of things that perhaps aren't quite right now that might get right a bit further down the line, software problems, bug fixes. I suppose I can see the benefit of doing a first impression. In fact, it's a little bit like when I did my first review of the Quest 2, a sim races review, and this was before Link came out of beta, and there's a whole load of improvements that happened further down the line. So my opinion went from not really good for sim racing to actually good for sim racing. So, I suppose in this instance we can do a similar sort of thing. So my first impressions of this are not good, to be honest. And this is as an overall VR experience from start to finish, not specifically for sim racing, because we'll put some more time into it. So how can I best sum this up? Because it's only going to be a short video. Okay, so the easiest way to sum this up is the visuals, the screens inside this are really, really good. The colours, the blacks, how vibrant they are, the contrast ratio and the sharpness. They make the Quest 2 look like a washed out piece of crap, if I'm honest. They really do. And the audio's good. And it's very, very comfortable. Like everyone else has said, this foam here and at the back here, super comfortable. Feels really good on the head. Aside from that, everything else is bad. Literally everything. From the tracking, to the software, to even physically the controllers themselves are just not good. There's sharp edges, there's the thumbsticks are tiny and made of hard plastic and slippery, and yeah, my first impressions are pretty bad, to be honest. Initially, from a sim racer's point of view, I think it's probably going to be okay. I don't know whether I'm yet going to recommend it as the best headset for sim racing. We'll see. I've done a bit more testing, because one of the biggest problems right now is that to try and run this at the native resolution is basically impossible. At least with my RTX 2080 and my 3800X. Just like the Quest 2, this has a lot of pixels to throw around, and I just haven't got the power to do it. So to try literally everything I tried, leaving it all at the default resolution, I was seeing between 20 frames a second in some of the more complicated graphical titles, and then eventually up to sort of 80, 90 frames a second in some of the simpler stuff like Beat Saber. And whilst, the pin sharp display resolution and the colours are super vibrant and the blacks are great, having to, it's no good if you can't run anything, So it's like you get this trade-off of, do I turn the settings down in the game and keep the resolution? Do I half the resolution and try and keep the settings up a little bit? You've got this trade-off. So yeah, first impressions, so far are really that it's not a good all-round headset. The Windows Mixed Reality software doesn't integrate well with Steam VR, to be honest. When you're transitioning from game back to Steam VR Home, or just loading something, you've got all sorts of flickering, the frame rate, everything's freezing and it like this. And this happens almost every time you try and load something up. So a lot of these things are software related in that respect, and obviously I'm going to spend some time now trying to iron these bugs out and trying to find a happy medium where you can get a good experience and enjoy the colours, the blacks, the brightness, the vibrancy and the sharpness, but without having to turn everything down too much and almost negate the point in having it. So yeah, so far, first impressions, panels are really good. And this is the other thing, the panels are really good. The lenses are not really good. The lenses have the sweet spot. Again, this is first impressions. I probably spent 3 hours playing with it. The sweet spot is, Sebastian Ang from MRTV said it was huge. It isn't huge. It's average. It's very much average. And the same with the field of view, at least so far. These are my impressions. And if you look ever so slightly out of the sweet spot, it doesn't just go a little bit blurry, like with the Quest 2, it goes really blurry. And I'm finding myself constantly having to move my head to try and read things and keep them in focus, because just off the center there, and it just looks crap. So yeah, that's a bit of a pain. God rays as well. Having been using the Quest 2 for a while now, I'm not used to really seeing much in the way of God rays. And with this, when you're in the Steam VR Home and there's white text, as soon as you move your head from left to right, there's like a white smear left behind, you know, where these, almost like an old 1970s or 80s space effect, where someone's flying through space and there's that trail of white, you know, behind them. So, excuse me, I just had a biscuit before I started this video. Perhaps I shouldn't have done. And I was ready to go to work today. And I woke up and opened the car. I'm all dressed for work. I got an MOT this morning. I got an Escort RS Turbo to do some live mapping on. And we got like 3 or 4 inches of snow outside. In fact, I might put up a little clip now just to show you what it's like outside. So then my MOT tester can't get in from where he lives. And obviously I can't go out live mapping on the road because there's snow everywhere. So I thought I'd just get this impression video out, because a couple of you asked me in the comments when I put up the picture of it arriving, Carl, can you do a first impression video and then do another one, you know, after you spent some time with it? So this is why I'm doing this video. But yeah, first impressions are, it is not a good headset. The LCD panels are good, the audio is good and it's comfortable, and so far everything else is bad. Tracking's bad as well, you know, and we'll go into more detail about that in the full review. But anyway, that's my first impressions of the Reverb G2. You know, at the moment, I'm going to say it doesn't look. Oh, that's the other thing. This cable, super heavy, super stiff, and it's like, it feels like it's sticky almost, so it clings to everything. Just irritating. Oh, positive things. No light leakage at all. This fits on my face beautifully, as does the nose cover. That is good. But yeah, so far I'm going to say it's not a very well balanced headset. And if you have one and you choose to keep it, you're going to be making a lot of compromises. I think from a sim racing point of view, if I can get it to run well enough, and if it turns out that I'm not looking out of the sweet spot, you know, moving your eyes around too much, so you're not going into that blurry area, if that isn't a problem, then this may well be the best sim racing VR headset about at the moment. But I do need to do some more testing and see. So far, it's very much a mixed bag, and I'm erring on the side of, nah, it's a bit crap, to be honest, apart from the LCD panels, the audio and the comfort. But we'll see. We'll give it, you know, another week or whatever of proper testing, proper use, and a whole load of tweaking to try and see, you know, how to get the best out of it. And then I'll give my final review and we'll see. But for those of you on the fence about buying one, because weirdly, a couple of people in the comments have said they managed to go on the HP website, order one and have it delivered next day already, which means all of us that pre-ordered had to wait for absolutely no reason. We could have just bought one like yesterday and it arrived today. And some of my friends that have pre-ordered one are still waiting until the 10th apparently for their delivery, and yet you can go on the HP site and buy one now and have it delivered tomorrow. I don't know what that's all about. It's very strange. But yeah, there's my first impressions. It's not looking good so far. Certainly not as an all-round VR headset, you know. But we'll get into it a bit more when I've had some proper time and can make a real judgment based on experience rather than just my first impressions. Anyway, those of you in the UK, if you've got snow today, get out there and build a fucking snowman. We don't get the chance very often. Have a snowball fight with your friends and family. And the rest of you that are in the UK, enjoy whatever weather you guys have got to. As always, take it easy.